Good afternoon, everybody. We're now going to start striding out a little further. In fact, today we're going to do the first in the station to station walks, which is 9 miles. So I really need to talk to you about the gear, because so far we've managed to paddle around locally, and apart from in winter time it can be done in trainers. But now that we're going to start doing some serious walking, you need some serious gear, and it's not cheap. Now, the very basic minimum you need is a decent pair of walking boots. Now, I use these boots, the Berghaus boots, and they're not cheap. They've got the commando sole on them for grip in the mud. They've got a decent heel on them, but most importantly, they're waterproof. And these have got a Gore-Tex layer underneath the leather, and that keeps the water out. You still have to treat them when you've walked in them when they're wet, and you can get a special treatment called Granger's, which you spray on and it waterproofs them. But these are lifesavers, these. The Ramblers recommend that you wear either stout shoes or boots when out walking. Now, I've never seen anybody in stout shoes, but the beauty of these is that they've got the support for the ankle here, so that if you're on an uneven surface and your leg twists over, it minimises the danger of broken ankles. These are selling in millets for £108 a pair. You can get cheaper boots. I've seen them in millets for £55, but these are the best boots. They're very good, keep your feet warm, dry, and support your ankles. Britain is a rainy place, and you need waterproof gear. Now, I always have some form of waterproof in my bag. This again is a Berghaus waterproof, and again it's not cheap. They're around £100, £140, £180. Now this is a lightweight summer one, and again it's Gore-Tex. So in between the outer layer and the inner layer here, you've got a Gore-Tex layer. Now the idea of Gore-Tex is it's a very, very fine mesh, and what it does is it lets your sweat out, but it stops the rainwater coming in so that you remain dry. Because especially in winter time, if you're out on the fells and you get wet and you get cold, you get hypothermia. So it's very important to have a decent outerwear such as this. To go with this, you need a pair of waterproof leggings as well to go over your own trousers. Now, I always carry waterproofs and waterproof leggings, even in summer, because you never quite know in Britain whether it's going to rain on you or not. And the last basic item that you need is something to carry them in. And I use one of these haversacks. This one's a low alpine one, and it's 25 litres, and inside it you can fit your waterproof gear, your sandwiches, spare clothing, because if you get wet you don't want to be coming home wringing wet, spare pair of socks. It's got pockets in the side for your flask or for your water container, and this particular one has got clips on the bottom of it for your walking poles. Walking poles aren't necessary, but I use them for balance, smashing nettles down, fending cattle off, and that sort of stuff. But remember, if you're going to come out walking in this country, you need a minimum of good waterproof walking boots and waterproof outer layer and a haversack to keep them in. The first walk in the series of station to station walks is from Earlestown Station in Merseyside to Rainhill Station in Merseyside, walking mostly on country paths, but there is a little bit of urban walking as well. I do hope you enjoy it, and press the subscribe button. Welcome to the first in the station to station walks. This is Earlestown Station, and we're now going to walk to Rainhill Station, through Earlestown, Burtonwood, Clockface Colliery Park, the Dream, and into Rainhill. The walk's about 9 miles. Turn left out of the station and walk up Queen Street till you get to the junction of Earl Street and Bridge Street. You're going to turn left onto Earl Street. So we're leaving the station now and heading into Earlestown Centre. So we're going to get to the top of the road here, and where that pub is ahead of us, we're going to turn left. Now Earlestown only exists because of the railway. It was originally named for one of the managers of the North and Western Railway called Earl, and originally it was the confluence of two new railways, and they built up the town because they'd put a originally it was at the confluence of two railways, and at this confluence they built an engine building works and the houses to put the workers in, and it was known as a model town. Once you've turned left into Earl Street, walk 120 feet till you come to some bollards. Turn left at those bollards. Now we're going to turn left here, just opposite Tesco's, and go over an old bridge. And we're going to work our way through an industrial estate down to the Mucky Mountains when we get out into the countryside. Walk up Junction Lane until you get to the crossroads at Sankey Street, and then turn left. So we've come over the bridge now and we're entering the industrial estate. We keep going on straight on this road till we come to the next junction where we'll turn left. This is the dump on the right hand side. As it's a Sunday, it's very busy. Coming up to the crossroads now, so we're going to turn left here, still in the industrial estate. We're coming out of the industrial estate now and we're going to enter the Mucky Mountains. We're just coming down to the Mucky Mountains, which is where they used to make phosphate back in the 19th century. And the process used lots and lots of materials, and as a consequence lots of waste. And these Mucky Mountains on the right here are the waste tips. Now because the soil is completely different than anywhere around here, there's lots and lots of different types of plants that you don't normally find in this area. As we come further down, there'll be a bit of a... As we come down, there'll be a sign, and I'll put a link in the description so you can read a bit more about it. Here's the sign, and then if we turn slightly to the right, and you can look through the gap in the bush there, that's the Mucky Mountains. Coming around to the left, we now have the Sankey Canal, which was built in the 18th century, and it was the first modern canal built in Britain. In fact, the first canal built since the Romans built canals. And now we're going to take this footpath here through the trees. And this bridge ahead of us crosses Sankey Brook, which used to be very polluted. If you look down there now, you can actually see the bottom of the river. It shows how much it's been cleaned up. So we now start to go up this path, which climbs slightly, and we'll head towards Burtonwood. This section of the map shows us entering the path to the Mucky Mountains and then crossing the St Helens Canal, Sankey Brook, and then walking up the farmer's track, which is called Bradley Lane, where it meets Hall Lane at the junction at the top. We're coming to the end of the farmer's track now, and we're going to go through this little gate, and then we're going to take that road ahead of us and follow that road all the way into Burtonwood village. The next sequence of clips shows the path from the end of Hall Lane, where you cross Fir Tree Lane, into the path that runs between the houses, crossing Sunningdale Close and turning right at the Scout Hut, where you enter Kinnock Park. Turning right out of Kinnock Park onto Chapel Lane, you cross Phipps Lane and then onto Clay Lane, and then you turn into the football field. We're coming now to the end of Hall Lane and starting to enter the outskirts of Burtonwood village. And what we're going to do is, where that green hedge is over the road there, there's a footpath there, so at the safe point we'll cross over and enter the footpath, and that takes you right through the centre of Burtonwood. So we'll check for traffic, any cars coming. No, go. When we come to this road now, you go straight across and down that path straight ahead of us. After we cross this bridge and go up the slight incline ahead of us, we turn right and go past the Scout Hut, which is there. And incredibly, since it's made of wood, it's never been burnt down. Shows you what a nice place Burtonwood is to live. We work our way now through the houses and we're on the roads for a bit. We've got a T-junction to cross where it's quite tricky, so you have to be careful. The dog knows the way, by the way, so she's waiting permission to cross this road because she knows we cross here. Just see if there's anything coming. Go. And now we're in the centre of Burtonwood, and we turn right here onto the main road. If you get cheesed off by the time you get to this point, you can get a bus back to civilization. We're going to cross the road at that junction at the end here and keep on the right side. Go. Come on. We're going to walk all the way around this road now. Keeping on the right hand side. There's a nice little cafe on the right hand side here. Popular with cyclists as well. We're going to go round the bend across this junction ahead of us. And then we're going to enter the countryside again. We're coming up to the hole in the hedge now. Just be careful because you might miss it. And we're going to turn into it and go into the football field. And we're going to walk across to that gate in the distance. Once we cross the football field, we enter Wheatacre Woodland. This is part of Bold Forest Park, and it was planted by the Forestry Commission in 2003. There is quite a comprehensive system of paths that you can walk, cycle, or even push wheelchairs on. Eventually we come out at Neil's Road, and we cross the road there and enter Douglas Close. We're now going to walk across this bridge here, and you'll have a choice of routes. They both actually lead to the same place. I tend to go right at this point, just out of habit. So you can take that left-hand path there, or you can take that path ahead, which joins up with this path. But for simplicity, we're just going to take this path now. At the end of this footpath, we're going to turn left. If you turn right, it takes you to Collier's Moss Country Park and Bold Country Park. But we're going left here. When we come to the end of this path, where that red car is, we're going to go through the gate, across this little road, and there's another gate on the other side, and we're going to enter another little country park. And we follow this path for a quarter of a mile. When we come to the end of this path here and go through the gate, we're crossing a main road. Now be very careful, because there's hedges that are overgrown on the side, and you can't see what's coming till you're right up to the curb. So I'm going to slow down at this point and just have a quick look. Nothing coming that way. Nothing coming that way. So we're going to go across the road to Douglas Avenue over there. We cross Neil's Road, enter Douglas Avenue, and walk up the avenue till we nearly get to the end. Then we turn left and take our way through the footpaths into the fields. So just where the dog is the footpath that we're going to take between the houses. Now there's various names for this type of footpath. There's Jigger, Ginnel, Cooey, Enog, and whatever you call it in your part of the world, get back to me, because I'll be interested to know. The next footpath we take is coming up on the right, as indicated by that post with the yellow markers on it. When we come to the end of this path after crossing the bridge, we're going to turn left to carry on towards Rainhill. But if you're getting tired or you want to come out early, then you can turn right at this footpath and walk down the footpath till you come to the main road. If you turn left at the main road and walk down for a couple of 100 yards, roughly where that white house on the right is, you can turn right there, and after a quarter of a mile you'll get to St Helens Junction station and back on the train. Sadly, all of this land here that we can see at the moment, right the way over to that industrial estate at Rainhill Road, and all the way up there to the horizon, has been marked down for housing. So if you're watching this film later than 2020, say in 5 years' time, this won't be the beautiful countryside that we're looking at the moment. So now we're coming to another junction of footpaths. We're turning left here. You can go straight on to Clockface, and you can turn right to go to the Rainhill Road Industrial Estate. But we're turning left here, and then we're going to go into Clockface Colliery Park, which is where those trees are. And then if we pan round, in the distance, about 2 miles away, where you can see the hill, that's Sutton Manor Woodland, where the Dream is, and we'll be walking over there in about 3/4 of an hour's time. When we come to the end of the path here, we're going to cross Gorsey Lane. Now it's quite busy, and very similar to the last crossing, the hedges are overgrown, so you have to be careful when you're looking for traffic. When you've crossed Gorsey Lane, you enter Clockface Colliery Park. You can use the path shown or any of the others, as long as you end up going past the lake and the car park. We're going to turn right at this footpath now. We carry on round to the left, and very shortly we'll be turning right, climbing a short hill up the old coal tip or ruck, which is now known as Clockface Colliery Park. When you come to this junction here in the paths, we're going to turn right, but you can actually go on, and again the path takes you up to the top of the ruck and then takes you into Clockface Colliery Park. For today, this is the shortest route. We've now entered Clockface Colliery Park, and we take this path here. There is a variety of paths that takes you through to the pond. This one's the straightest. We pan over there, you can go right round the park, or there's 2 paths taking you down the middle. There are plenty of name boards around the park, which gives you the history of what used to be here. I'll put a link in the description to where we're going, so you can see you are here, and we're going to walk down this path here past the lake, or you can go all the way around the perimeter past the viewpoint, or you can take the 2 centre paths. They all lead you through to the car park, which is our next point. We're now at the lake with a nice view of Fiddler's Ferry Power Station, which in a few years' time, if you're watching this, will not be there anymore. Probably be a housing estate. So our paths all converge here, and go out towards the car park over there. When we get to the car park, we take the left-hand path here, which goes through the back of the car park, through that gate, and then along to another gate, and then the path towards the Dream. When we pass through this gate, we walk down that path ahead of us, which is actually the old railway line to Clockface Colliery. When we get to the end, there's another gate where we cross Clockface Road. We pass straight through this gate and on, straight on to Clockface Road. This is Clockface Road. We cross here and then go up that path you see ahead of you, and you keep following that path. It turns left and left again, and you see the pond ahead of you. When we've crossed Clockface Road, we enter Sutton Manor Woodland. As you can see, there's loads of paths through there, but the path that we're taking here takes you up and over the Dream. Once you've gone over the Dream, you head in a westerly direction down to Sutton Manor Colliery Gates and on to Forest Road. We're now in Sutton Manor Woodland, and you've got a choice again of three paths. You can either take this path to the right, which takes you around to Marshall's Cross Road, or you can go straight on, or you can start climbing up that path in the distance on the right, and that leads you to the Dream eventually. We took the right hand path, and at this junction here you can walk on up to the Dream. You can either come down from the Dream and turn left, or go over the other side of it and turn right. All the paths lead to the same place. At this junction we take the left, which takes you through to Sutton Manor Colliery entrance gates. If you take the right hand path, that leads you to King George V car park, where we started our Sutton Manor Colliery trip. At this point all the paths converge, and we're going to turn right here and go down to the Sutton Manor Colliery gates, cross the road and go down Forest Road ahead of us. When we get to Sutton Manor Colliery gates, we cross Dubit's Lane and walk down Forest Road until we get to the roundabout, where we turn left onto Walker's Lane, and then when we get to Lee Green Road and the junction of Chapel Lane, we take the footpath directly across the road. At the roundabout here, bear left onto Lee Green Road. We're going to go straight across where that for sale sign is, down a public footpath. Again, take caution at this junction. Heel. Go on then. This path runs down the side of the Micklehead pub. We're in Micklehead Green at the moment, and we're going to come up shortly to St Helens Linkway, which is extremely dangerous to cross. Somebody was killed on here 2 years ago walking their dog, so you need to take extreme care when you're crossing the road. In fact, I won't be filming crossing the road. because it's so dangerous. I'll need to keep my wits about me. So we're going to cross the road here, the dual carriageway, and we're going to go over to the next kissing gate over there by that pylon. Once you have crossed St Helens Linkway, you then walk along the footpath across 2 fields towards the railway line. When you get to the railway line, turn left and walk along the railway until you come to a railway bridge. Cross the railway bridge and follow the footpath towards the houses, which is Ritherup Lane. When you've entered Ritherup Lane, when you get to the traffic lights, turn left and walk down to Rainhill Station to complete the walk. Cross the road, and now we're going to enter our final footpath before getting ourselves back into Rainhill. It's a bit tortuous here. The actual official route is through that stile there, but it's the worst stile I've ever come across. So I tend to walk around this little heap of road shavings now, and through this gate here. And then we continue on this footpath till we come to a stile in the next field, and then walk towards the railway line. When we pass through this, what used to be a stile, we cross the cropped field. You may be able to see a white marker on the fence in the distance. That's what we're heading for. And then we're going to turn left down the side of the railway towards that footbridge in the distance to the left of the pylon. So as we come up to this railway bridge, we're going to cross it. So when we've come down the steps, we head towards those houses ahead of us. That's Ritherup Lane. We stay on Ritherup Lane till we get to the traffic lights. We're coming up to the end of Ritherup Lane now. That's Rainhill Road ahead of us, and we're going to turn sharp left here into Tasker Terrace, and there ahead of you, where them trees are, is Rainhill Station.